you're dark, but I hear you. Hey everybody, we're live, and we're a little late because we are uh, expanding the bounds of technology. We've got John in the field actually today. We're not just in our offices. I am Alex Bailey here in Irmo, South Carolina. John, where are you this morning?
I'm in Augusta, Georgia, down here in Augusta on one of the houses that we're working on. Down here in Augusta.
And guys, if you're watching the stream and you're wondering why John is sideways, the honest answer is I don't know. It's high tech. He sees himself straight up, and every time he turns his phone, he goes upside down. So if you can live with that, that's okay. We'll still talk real estate this morning.
Okay.
Um, as a
Okay.
reminder
Okay.
to folks watching, as people are starting to come into the stream now, I've seen a couple people just joined in with us. If you are on Facebook Live, that is great. But as of today, we are also adding our YouTube channel live streaming for the first time, Real Estate 101. So if you want to find us on Real Estate 101, just go into YouTube, search Real Estate 101, Alex Bailey, or John Fuller as part of your search terms. Because, funny enough, Real Estate 101 is not a unique name for real estate show on YouTube. So if you want to find us and subscribe, you can do that. Additionally, if you have questions as we go through, you can actually enter your questions in the comments field either on Facebook, if that's the way you're watching, or from YouTube, if that's the way you're watching. We'll see your comments. We can actually bring them into the stream and answer them live. So feel free to comment as we go. John is, like I said, in the field, so his bandwidth is limited by the cell service. So sometimes we might lose his picture, but we still have audio. You still there for audio, John?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here. How's it going?
Good, good. Okay, so we'll do the best we can. This, like I said, we are um, John broadcasting from Augusta. John, so why are you in Augusta today? Augusta, Georgia.
I have a house down here that we done bought and remodeled, and we about to sell it. I got the customer out here. They'll be coming out here after a while and signing paperwork, signing the contract on the house that we remodeled, and I'll get some pictures of it. You can put the pictures online, and a house that we bought and remodeled. Real nice house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. We actually
Okay.
added another bathroom to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
John,
go ahead.
excuse me. If John brings us some pictures, we can bring them into the show here a little later. We are. I'll be honest, we're full time working, and so sometimes we fly by the seat of our pants trying to get everything done, and then things do pop up. So the topic of our discussion today was how to make money in real estate, and as it turns out, John's down in Augusta doing a contract signing to sell one of the homes that we've been working on. So this is real, even under quarantine, COVID, whatever the term is right now. You can still make money in real estate, and to be quite honest, it's actually as we discussed in prior shows, can create some unique opportunities. Um, John, you want to tell us a little bit more about kind of the particulars? Let's not talk about address or for sake of just keeping it private for the investors involved, but what's going on with this house numbers wise? Um,
Wow. I mean, this house down here, it was bought in the low teens. And we went through and we rehabbed it. And man, it's gonna sell right around 110 to a customer that we had come to us, and we actually worked with them in the program a little bit. They was already pretty much there, but we had to tweak them a little bit, and then we went and got them financed, and they're buying the house. I mean, it's $110,000, and we bought it in the low teens. The investor that I worked with, he bought it in low teens, so it's a
well,
great deal. It's in a neighborhood, up and coming neighborhood. I tell people all the time, you can find these gold mines in different type neighborhoods. You don't have to always go to the high end neighborhood to really find these great deals. So there's some great deals in different neighborhoods. I always say there's no bad real estate to me. Real estate is
well,
always good wherever you go. You know.
that's an interesting opportunity. What do you know much about the way in which the house was bought? What was the seller situation there that led to a
Yeah,
price?
he actually was his mother buy houses down here, and his mother had another house up the street, and then this house here, the family came in and bought this house. They saw this one for sale, so So they came in and bought this house from a previous owner, and they was just in the neighborhood working on another house up the street, and they saw this one, then they bought this one, then that's how I kind of got involved in it with them. But yeah, they was just in the neighborhood buying another house, working on another house, and this one just came up, and it never had a sign in the yard, so it was one of those houses where um for sale by owners. You know, I think the people who was in it had passed away, and it was an estate deal. So yes, it was a great deal for them.
That's a,
Turned out to be
that,
a good deal for them. Yeah.
that's a good point because for a lot of people, estates are a great way to acquire houses, mainly because typically the person has passed and they've left the house to their children. Um, but as typically happens a lot of times as people get older, the house gets outdated. They don't kind of keep it up with modern, kitchens and bathrooms, which are really big for buying a house. You want a nice kitchen, nice bathroom, and so by the time it comes to sell the house, the children are living a lot of times out of state, or there's two or three people involved, and they would just like to have the money. They don't want to come move back home and leave their jobs to come back and remodel grandma's house just to get it back up to sale. Like, let's just get a check and go. And a lot of times those deals kind of fly under the radar too, don't they, John? You really do have to, like you said, this particular person found it just because they were in the area and saw the sign and inquired.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know,
And I tell you, I even tell people that looking for houses. These are good. If they like the neighborhood, those are good houses that people can find and have a lot of equity in the house when they buying it. This particular house here was bought by an investor and sell it to a customer. But a lot of times, customers come in and find these houses, rehab it, and they can move into them themselves. But this particular one here was an investor. But if this customer would have bought this house, that customer would have had $30,000, $40,000 worth of equity once they moved into it if they would have found the house themselves. So a lot of times I try to tell my people is like in my teaching, my class is go out and look for these houses, looking for estate deals, go out and look for sale by owners, look in places other than just, and I'm not knocking realtors, but look in other places other than just find a realtor to find your house. Really learn this game and you can find it yourself and you can actually walk into with instant equity. One of the things, Alice, I want you to go over today, if you can, I'll talk a little bit about, I know you at the house, is the difference between a person really being able to buy this house with a low interest rate, and then at the same time, the equity, if you got some kind of grass or something, the equity, get on the whiteboard, the equity would that they have in the house like this right here. I mean, we could show some customers that would be real good. I'm in the
right.
field, but I'm gonna get you some pictures of the house in a minute. But I was just wondering if that was possible that you can do, because I was talking to a customer earlier during the week and I was trying to break that down to them that, hey, you buying a house at top dollar with the real at 250, they were 250, and then you come back and you buy this house for 175 and it's a foreclosure or it's a estate deal or it's a sale by owner, you got instant equity in that particular house. You a little
Yes.
bit of work.
Well, if we want to look real quick, let's look at today's rates, John. You got rates. Let me take a
I put
little.
that thing back here.
You got you there? All right. So we flip
Yeah, I'm
back
here.
over to our screen. So rates today are 3.13%. They started off the year at much higher, almost 4. So a 3.13% rate, like the house you're talking about here. The homeowner is going to buy it for, what do you say, 110? Is that right, John?
Oh, add on with it. Hello?
Hey, John's multitasking. He's actually talking to the contractors and customers. Got all this stuff going on this morning. You said this house is going to sell for 110, right? Hey, John, you still there? All right. Well, I'm going to keep on talking until John gets back. This is the beauty of being in the field. Sometimes you don't have a cell signal. But let's say that house is a $110,000 house, and you're putting in a $100,000 loan to buy it, $10,000 down, let's say. At a 3.13% rate, your interest is $3,113 a year. You throw in taxes and insurance, you're probably looking at another 2, so it's 5, and then some principal, another 1, that's 6. So $6,000 over the year divided into 12 payments. It's about $500 a month, of which your interest is tax deductible. So even then, I don't know many apartments you could rent for $500 a month, and it's going to be yours in 30 years. If you wanted to go the 15-year route, make your payment about $650 a month, but you're paying less in interest over the life of the loan. Plus, you get a lower rate. You're probably going to be over the about 2.75% for a 15-year mortgage. So for $650 a month, you will own that house free and clear in 15 years. And even if you sell it in 5, you will have a lot of equity added on in that window of time. So it's something very important to note. Another thing John mentioned, if you didn't want to be an investor where you're going in and flipping, but you just need a place to live, and that might be a good place to start. When you make money in a house, if you go into a house, let's say, and you do rehab it up and fix it up, and then you move in, and that's your primary residence, and you stay there for 2 years. If you sold that house in 2 years, whatever gain you make is tax free. So you go into this house, let's say 110, and 2 years from now, it sells for 115, 120. You basically almost live there for free the whole time because the profit you made on the sale covers a big chunk of your payments living there those years. So it's really difficult to do in many other types of investments. Plus, it's something to practically use. You can't live in your IBM stock. You can't live in the gold you might purchase and hold on to. But you can do that here with the real estate. So those are your rates. So that's something really important to keep in mind when you're doing deals. So we've talked about rehabbing is one idea, buying low, fixing up, and selling. We go back into two-screen mode here with John. You can also go into a flip my things there. You could also do it as a fix and flip. We actually make money on the sale of the house. You will need some funds for that, either for your own savings. You can also talk to hard money lenders, and we get into the hard money lenders into another topic. The interest rates can be kind of high, but they're very flexible on the terms, and you're not going to hold the money for that long. You could also look at partnerships. You can look at doing a joint venture with someone. If you have a deal that you come across like that that's outside of your financial ability to do, that's something that John and I entertain doing. So you can look at your deals too, and maybe we can make a partnership arrangement where we can provide the funds, and you can put your deal together. John's coming back in. I lost connection. John, are you there, buddy? When he speaks up, we'll keep going. But for right now, I'll keep on talking. So yeah, there's all kind of different deals. If there are any questions or anything like that, remember you can put questions in the chat box either through Facebook Live if that's how you're watching, or through YouTube, and we'll entertain those. If we do get John to connect back in a little bit, I think his mic is on mute. Nope. Nope, there he is. John, I hear you. You there? Hello, hello. If we can't get him that way, I might even try to call him because unfortunately, we probably just don't have to. Hey, buddy, can you hear me? I hear you. The beauty of doing it in the field and rolling out live at the same time. Whoop, didn't connect. Let me see if I can bring John in on cell phone and see if that doesn't work. Put him on speaker. Won't be quite as high tech. We'll see what we can do. Hey there.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can't get back in.
Well, I got you on speaker, so you can be heard through my mic if we need to.
Okay. I was trying to get back in.
I know. Well, you probably don't have the bandwidth where you are because you might not be in downtown Augusta, so your cell towers aren't quite strong enough.
Yeah,
That's no problem. Okay.
Okay, so we on conference or speaker or whatever?
Yep, you're on speaker.
Okay.
So they can,
All right.
hopefully the folks can hear you. If you can't hear me, would you chat in the chat box whether you can hear John or not from y'all's end? But there he is on the cell. So John, I was just talking, if you didn't hear what I was saying earlier, that folks have two options or many options when they're doing a fix and flip, which is the common word we use in the real estate industry. You go in and buy, you don't actually have to flip it and be an investor. If you use your own money and buy something cheap and you fix it up and you built up that equity because you had equity on the buy, you had equity for the value add of the rehab, you could just live there for 2 years and that could be your primary residence. And in 2 years, if you wanted to, you could sell that house and it's a tax-free gain for you. And you basically have had a free place to live over that period of time. And with rates being what they are, giving the example of the house you had, $100,000 loan, you're not going to be paid more than $500 a month, and your monthly payment all in taxes, insurance, principal and interest, PITI, and I don't know how you rent an apartment for $500 a month. Not something as nice you just freshly remodeled with a new bathroom and kitchen and landscaping and all that added on. That's a nice place to live for not a lot of money every month.
Right, and one of the things that I want everybody to know, I know you touched on this also something offline, but this is a good time in the Bible because the rates are so low and you got so much product that's coming on the market right now. I mean, I'm saying I got a list yesterday from a banker, asset manager at the bank in Man on it. It's just like it was like 25 properties on that one list, just in within a 30 or 40 mile radius of area. So, we got these houses are coming back on the market. And you guys that out there, you need houses in a certain area. Call me, get in touch with us, so I can get a list for about any area throughout the United States. And then we can really go and look at the houses. You can get you some good deals out there.
Right.
So I want to put that out there to the people. So
right.
I get a list. So you out there, you looking for a house and you say, hey, I might want to, get a house and get some equity and get a good deal. Give us a call. I mean, you call me, you call Al, you call the show. Tune in to the show. We can send y'all numbers out, and we can
right.
help them out.
So Letitia Jackson Richter had a comment. Can you send your spreadsheet example via email? Are we talking about the spreadsheet example of the fix-up of this house, or are we looking at mortgage? Like if I was to get a mortgage, what would be the monthly payment? If you just be a little more specific of what spreadsheet example you're asking for, we can set you up. And I'm going to remove that comment so you can see at the bottom left corner of my screen is my hashtag on Twitter. If you have Twitter, you can send me an email there. You can also just send me an email. I'll throw my banner up. So this is John's contact information, johnfullofbiz@gmail.com. If you want John to email you back, just please let him know what you need and we can get you set up. Also, John has his books about home buying, and a lot of this information is covered at www.johnfuller.store, where you can go and download that information as well. But if we can answer that, any other questions you got right here online, we'll do that too.
What was the caller asking for, Alex, real quick?
Going back over to the comments, can you send a spreadsheet example via email? Your spreadsheet example.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what spreadsheet specifically we're talking about, but if you just clarify where you're looking at like a rehab build, like the numbers of this specific house, or just specify what you need in that email to John, and then he can shoot that to you because he'll have that spreadsheet.
Well, Alan, since we're talking about that real quick, this popped in my mind, and I don't know if she's talking about this, but this popped in my mind. Do you have anything set up where you can show the breakdown of the interest of a loan over 30 years? Do you have a spreadsheet on that? Do you have that right now? Do you have my buddy about software you can pull up on the line and you can actually show where they found house for so much money, like say $250,000, and you can show how much they pay over the year on that particular house, and you can show how they can break that payment down. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. But you say spreadsheet, that might be what you're talking about.
I'm not sure which one that is. She just replied back that yeah, that'd be great, thank you. But we'll still have to figure out exactly which one we're doing. But I can hold the phone and running through my spreadsheets is like me walking and chewing gum. So I get a little bit tricky for me. But let me see what I can pull up. I mean, we could do a mortgage, sure. Real quick, let me pull yours up. So John, while you're talking, I'm working the computer.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up a spreadsheet. What we're going to show you guys is how much interest you actually pay on a loan with a 3% and a 4%. And the difference you can say we're getting a 3% and a 4%. I got a customer right now that called me a couple of days ago and they had said they were getting a 4% rate. And they wanted to know what was the difference between a 3 and a 4. And based on the loan amount of the house that they were buying, it was a $36,000 difference that they paying in interest over the life of the loan, over the 30 years of the loan. So that is some of the stuff that I wanted to show that if we can pull that up out, then we can show 4%, say at 200,000, and then do 3% at 200,000. And I think one thing that people really don't understand that we educated with today is how much interest you really paying on the house, how much you really paying for the house. I mean, you might buy this house for 200,000, but over the life of the loan, you might pay $350,000 for this particular house. And we show you how to cut that down so you can actually pay less money on that house and really pay the house off early. There are different strategies that we offer, that we teach you through our classes, through our workbook, through our one-on-one conference that can actually show you how to save money and pay that loan off early. Pay that loan off in less than 15 years. That's the graph. I can't see the graph, but I know Alex bring one up, and then we can actually break that down for you, and that will be a good little spreadsheet for we can get you guys in your hands. So we're working on that.
I don't have that specific spreadsheet, but I do have another one that I'm going to pull up here real quick, and it'll show you what we're talking about. Share this. And clicky, click, click. There we are. All right, so this is just a quickie online Google mortgage calculator. Interest rates. I'm going to click over the spreadsheet at 3.17 is what we're showing today.
Right now, Alex. I'm on full-year budget power right now, but go ahead and do your on full-year budget power right now.
I've got that spreadsheet. It's got a broken link in it, so it doesn't run that calculator because I'm not using Excel. Using Google Sheets, it would work if it was on Excel, but I just don't have it open on that right now. But a mortgage of $100,000 at 3.17, which is what's calculated as their current 30-year rate today, is $431. I say give it another $200 for your taxes and insurance, and that should be a gracious plenty for your taxes and insurance. So $631 to live in what is a new house, a totally remodeled. The roof is good, your AC is good. You've got nothing to worry about on rebuilding that house for years and years to come. So that's a lot better than living in a stacked box 3-story apartment in some 500-unit apartment complex somewhere. And if you're willing to really hunker down and you want to make it a 15-year mortgage, your rate's probably going to be more like 2.75. I actually 8 years ago now, I got my 2.75% 15-year mortgage, and it's my note's going to be paid off in 7 years from where I am right now. But even then, your payment's $679. Again, add on $200 for your tax and insurance, $879. I mean, that's $879 to own your house and free and clear in 15 years. It's a pretty big deal,
Do that show, Alan, how much interest will be saved on that?
I can check and
If not, I can open mine up right quick. I know you guys can't see it, but I can open it up and go over it with you real quick.
Well, if it doesn't show you how much the interest would be, because you're paying right off the bat, you're paying half that monthly payment is going to your principal reduction. And in a few years, like now with my loan, it's 8 years old. It's like 20% of it is interest and 80% of it is principal. I mean, it's just banging down the principal hard every month in the last 7 years alone.
Let me do this for you, Alex, real quick. Just real quick, with the principal interest, and we talking to people out here in the public, can you break that down to them real quick, the difference between the principal and interest? I know we know it.
Sure.
But there's a lot of people out there that, what are you talking about? I'm gonna break even in 15 years. What are you talking about? I'm paying more than the interest than the principal, and that thing gonna flip on me.
Okay.
So we need to be able to break that down and show that. Let's explain that to the people.
Sure. Okay. So let's talk about. Right.
Go ahead.
So let's talk about the term mortgage. Mortgage is 2 words. It's mort, M-O-R-T, which is the same word for mortuary, mortician, You know, like a funeral home, because engage is Latin for loan. So it's a loan killing. You're killing the loan in a mortgage. And it's very simple. If I owe you a loan, if you loan me money at 10% interest on $2,000, well, every year I owe you $200 because 10% of $2,000 is $200. So when you take out a loan and your balance is 100,000, a mortgage is calculating based upon years of time, like if it's a 30-year or 10-year loan, how much principal, which is basically the loan balance, are you paying off each and every month? And then how much interest would you have to pay? And that's why you have to use a calculator to say, what is my payment got to be, so that by the time you get to the end of 20 years, 15 years, 30, whichever way the loan is set up, how long is it going to take before that thing is paid? And so that is what a mortgage does. It says, okay, if you want this thing to end in 30 years at, let's say, 3.17% rate of interest, then you're going to have to make this much principal payment in addition. And every month, you got a little principal mixed in with that interest. So next month, the balance of your loan is lower by the amount you paid from principal last month. So your first payment on a $100,000 loan, you got a payment of $500, let's say. About $100 or $110 of that money is principal. So next month you don't owe $100,000, you owe $99,890. So you apply the interest to that, 1/12 of a year, because there's 12 months in a year, and then the rest goes to principal, and then your loan is even less the next month. So every month that goes down, the rate of the principal going towards your loan out of your payment gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because there's a smaller and smaller and smaller balance to offset it. So it starts accelerating. As time goes along, you don't notice a big dip in the balance in the first 3, 4, 5 years of your loan. But once it starts getting its head of steam and it's really taking big chunks out of the principal, every month it's taking even bigger chunks out of the principal, until the last year of your loan, almost all your payments are principal. Very little interest is even left. It's banging out that thing very fast. And that's why a 15-year loan doesn't have to have twice as big a payment as a 30-year loan to get you paid off. Because you're knocking down that little bit of extra principal every month, knocks the balance down enough so that you have just less you have to pay off. And so before you know it, that last 5 years, that 15-year loan, that's when you're paying half the balance off. It's just the last 5 years. Every payment is so much principal. It's like mostly principal, and it's banging that loan out. What's up, Van? Van's on the line.
How you doing, man? At the same time, Alex, a lot of people don't want to pay for a 30-year mortgage. A lot of people are really interested in how can I get this house paid off early. So a lot of people buying houses late in their life, and they don't want to pay 30 years. They're selling out when they're 80, 90 years, 80 years old. So a lot of people want to try to, how can I pay this off for 15 years? And then cut the 15 years down to 7 years.
Listen.
And it's all about being disciplined.
Yeah, well, you're only talking, like I said, $150 a difference maybe on a $100,000 loan, because you're paying a lower rate of interest too for the 15-year loan. It's a good 4/10 of a point a lot of times, almost a half of a point of interest, which makes a big difference in how quickly you pay off that loan. And it's just kind of nice to know, because I'm 51, I refinanced my house in my early 40s. Before I'm 60, I'll have it paid off, but I started in my early 40s. A lot of people are buying homes in their 30s. Can you imagine if you were 30 years old and you bought a house, and then when you got to be 45, you were free and clear on your house? I mean, that's pretty cool. And most people, you're not going to get pushed that kind of product, though, at the bank. You have to ask for it, because for them, they make less money.
Right. And that's what we teach. And that's one of the reasons why this show is so important for people to listen to. Because we're going to give you some great information that you can use out there, and you can take to the bank and say, hey, I tell people all the time, ask for the extra 0.25 or point down. That makes it different. Ask for the extra 0.5 or point down. Even if you have to buy it down, you're still going to be in better shape, with your interest over the years and over the life of the loan. And
right.
The one thing I want to touch on, Alex, is was in that bracket where they actually get money back in $4,000 or $5,000 back a year. If you take $5,000, I know you probably gonna take it all. But if you take $4,000 and then apply that to the principal, look at how much you're knocking that out. Now, can you do an example on that with that house, with the one you just did? You showed them for the interest that you said you get $100 off, and then once they take that tax money and apply $4,000 to that tax money at the end of that year, they knock their mortgage down. They do it every year. Look at how quick they pay their mortgage down.
Well,
you real quick, can you
not on this particular thing, but I can just tell you as an example. If you said, let's take the number $4,000. If you put $4,000 to a principal payment, which all you have to do now, if you do this and you're paying by electronic check or you're paying by check, make 2 checks. Like one is the payment and one is the principal. The banks, you would not believe how easy it is for them to mess stuff up. So do it in 2 checks. Don't combine it in one. But if you provide $4,000 of principal, especially like in your first year, you basically took about 2 to 2.5 years off your payoff. So you're going to pay off that house 2.5 years early, just on that. And you're probably going to save over the life of the loan that same amount of money again. So your $4,000, you basically just doubled it because you did not have to pay $4,000 of interest over the life of the loan on that money. Because it basically works out, even with these low rates. When you do a 30-year mortgage, you buy a house for $100,000, by the time it's all said and done, you spent $200,000. Between the payments and the interest that you're accruing, if you added up all your payments, you would have $200,000 in there. So the quicker you pay it off, that's less. It's not like you spent that money. You didn't spend the money. You basically banked it in the bank of your house. And you saved yourself that interest.
And that's equity that if you need to send your kids to college or somewhere later on down the road, you can pull that money back out and you can start a business, send your kids to college. But you're really, like Aaron said, you're making the money into your own home. Instead of like a lot of people put money in the savings in the bank and leave it in the bank. But why not make it in your own home and have your own paid off? Even if you don't never want to start a business, leave your house be paid off.
I've never seen a bank that'll pay you a higher rate of interest on your money than the interest they're charging you on the mortgage. Because that's not how banking works. Banking takes your deposit money and gives you a 0.5 point and then loan it out for 3.5% interest on a house. And they make the spread. That's one of the ways they make money. There's more. We'll cover that in another class. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for interest payments and how you make money in real estate. Financing your house, doing rehab and living in that rehab, or flipping it and putting it to another house. We can go on and on. So,
well, Alex, that's one of the things I'm glad we brought up today, and we were talking about buying houses in today's time and how good it is about real estate. A lot of people really don't understand, like, go in and buy you a house that you got to rehab, live in the house. And I know a lot of females, I want my house right. I don't want to do it right now. And I didn't want to buy something new. But looking at the money you spend over the years compared to the money you would spend if you go in there and rehab it the way you want it. Because most houses that people buy, they end up fixing them up anyway. They end up changing them anyway. Because they get outdated. So why not buy a house that you can rehab or something that you can put together and give a new construction that's yours. And you're going to feel good about the house maybe 15, 20 years. Then looking at the house, I wish I would have changed this. I wish I would have. Because there's no such thing as a perfect house unless you feel it yourself.
That is.
Walking there, everybody I sell a house to, it's something they wish they had different in that house. Unless you feel it yourself.
Right.
So guys, I mean, that's one thing I want to put out, Alex. Hey, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to some people's mind, when you say rehab, they think of like, and John and I have done houses like this before, where like the house caught on fire, and there's no roof on half the house, or it's been destroyed by termites, or it's like, we're not talking about that. There's a term in the business called a lipstick job on a house, which is carpet and paint, and then maybe some updating of the kitchen. Cabinets need some new knobs. The bathroom, a little dated. Things like that. There are things, but you could take them in their time. Set aside, like, this is the year we do the carpet, this is the year we do the paint, this is the year we do whatever. 3 or 4 years, you've got yourself something set up. Or you can do it all at once up front. But we're not talking about things that are so hard to do as a total house build. It is more of a, when you buy houses that aren't perfect, you get a discount, and then you get it to make it the perfect way you want. Right? There's just no two ways about it. You know, when you're in a dated house that's you know 20 years on that kitchen and starting to show, then yeah, you've got some work to do there. But you're going to get a much better price on it when you do that.
And Alan, this is one of the things I'm trying to tell people. I'm trying to break it down to them real easy. They be like, well, I don't want to do this, but listen, you've been living in an apartment for 5 years, and you didn't want this apartment either. So now you can't do nothing to this apartment. So now I'm putting you in this house, and you got to do a little bit of work too, but guess what? It's yours.
Right.
It's yours. The money you're putting into it is yours. The discount you're getting on the house is yours. The equity you're going to build in the house when you buy it is yours. That apartment that you didn't like the kitchen, now you get to fix the kitchen the way you want to fix the kitchen in this house because you bought the house at a discount. It's a better deal for people. And that's when we say buying houses in this day and this time in this market while we're going through what we're going through is a great time. So you got the best rate that you can get right now. I never saw the rate this low. And the deals that I'm seeing coming is awesome.
Well,
I'm seeing awesome. And I'm trying to not realtors out, Alex. What I'm trying to say is people that got money right now, they're looking to put money into houses, you can make some money off your house. Even if you're living there, you're making money. If you buy it at a discount price. You know, but go ahead, Alex. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
no, everything you said is right, and yeah, realtors are great, but realtors are in the business of buying and selling houses rapid fire. They want to list and sell, list and sell, and they don't want houses that are not going to sell in 30 days. And they try to get you to price your house so it'll sell in 30 days. There's a common misconception that realtors want you to get the best price because they make more commission. That's not true. Realtors want a fast sale, and if that means we take 5 or 10,000 more off that house to get that fast sale, that's what they want, because in the end, that's not much of their commission. They can make a lot more money selling 10 houses a month than 5 at the best price. 5 at the best price versus 10, but we took some money off. I mean, that's basic math, and basic math is what motivates people. So it's not like that's bad. It's just, what would you do in that situation? Do you want to make, you know, a $9,000 check 10 times over, or a $10,000 check 5 times over? I mean, I take the 9 times 10 every day. That's kind of the thought process anyone would go through there. So, and that realtors don't look for the diamonds in the rough so much, because it does take a little more time. And again, they're trying to make maximum use of their time. And if you've got a little time to do some research, then you can find good stuff very easily.
And that's the biggest thing right there. Take the time, be patient, find the right deal, don't rush into the deal. And I guarantee you, 10 years down the road, you're gonna be fine. I got a friend, Alice, back in the day, and I've been doing this job for years. I mean, I've been doing it for years, but I talked to his dad, and he got a big old house on the lake, worth close to $800,000. And when you walk up to the house, you say, "Oh, this man, you know, Richie bought this house $800,000." When I talked to him and sat down with him, he said, "Man, me and my wife bought our first house. It was $50,000. We bought it at a discount, we fixed it up, and we sold it. We made money off that house. The next house we bought was $175,000, and we just had equity in it. We did some work to a little bit and fixed it and sold it, and we worked our way up to the top of the still being right now." So people don't understand that sometimes it takes work, and it takes getting educated on this game so that you can actually get the house you want, and when you retire, you live in the type of house that you want to live in. And that's what they're doing now. They're right on the lake living in the house they want to live in. You know, everybody looking at like, "Oh, you must be rich." No, I worked my way up to the lake, and I took my time to get to this level. When they built that house on the lake, I talked to them. He said, "John, we built this house, we only had $50,000 mortgage on this house, and I was worth $800 per pound." They said, "We only had $50,000 mortgage on this." So they had to pay their money off every house that they sold, and they built, they paid the money to get to their goal of the house they wanted. And that's what it is.
So, John,
I want to put that out there for people.
that kind of emphasizes the power of the compound interest too. If you go into a house and you sell, you take a $15,000 house, you drop 30 or 40 in it to get it up to 110,000 value. Let's say you spent 40. You spent 40 plus 15, you're at 65,000 for a house that's worth 110. Okay, you have now $45,000 of equity. And you apply that to the next house, If you do that 3 or 4 times, you're going to own a house free and clear in under 10 years. And you could, if that's what you want to do, great. You could also just keep that first house, turn it into a rental, have monthly positive cash flow, and go do it again. You don't even have to sell it, quote unquote. You just go and get another house. You got equity in this one. Turn it into a rental that cash flows $350 a month. And it keeps knocking that principal down each and every month. It's still going to get paid off in its 30 or 15 years or what kind of loan you got. And do it again. You know, a lot of times business is not complicated. It's the discipline to keep doing the right things daily, over and over and over. I mean, to the point, it's extremely boring. But working out in the gym is extremely boring, but it has its benefits. You know, eating a good meal every day, you know, to keep yourself healthy, taking your vitamins. It's the daily stuff you do to build your wealth, because like Warren Buffett said, man, if you aren't making money in your sleep, you're going to work the day you die.
Right.
The only one way to make money in your sleep is investments. Investments that keep paying you every month, that keep paying you every day. It's cash coming in, a rent check coming in. You've got to get to your point in your life. And a lot of people are finding this out now. You know, your job is not guaranteed. And you get a stimulus check. The stimulus checks run out. We've got 30 days left as of July 1st on a lot of these unemployment checks. You need to have your own plan in place, because you're in your day, your employer's not responsible for your retirement. And I'm not talking 65 retirement. Some people want to retire when they're in their 50s. You don't have time to do stuff.
Take control of your own destiny.
Take control of your own destiny. I'm not a wealthy man, but I do have a lot of free time because I have money being made for me on things that I don't have to be there to get them done every day. You know, real estate, restaurants, things like that. It can be done, but you have to start. You have to get over the hump of that first fear. Buy right when you buy, because all the best deals are made at the closing. You know, if you don't buy that house at the right price, it doesn't matter if you do everything else right. It's going to be too much money.
And I will submit this to anybody can do this. You just got to get educated. You know, if you wasn't put forth the time to learn this and get educated on this, and I know people can get educated, so you just get your job. I can walk in and do half y'all job because y'all educated on the job that y'all do. I'm educated on real estate. This is what I dedicated my life to for the last 25 years. And so you can get educated on this and you can learn. I'm teaching this to my daughter right now, 19 years old. I want her to be able to, when she gets 20, when she gets 30 years old, if she do what I did all my life, I'm 52. Hey, well, look what she gonna do is really what I can put into her and what I can teach her.
Right.
So guys, you know, I just want you guys to understand that we can do this. And we're trying to break this down as simple as we can, but you guys can learn. I'm sorry I'm not on air today down here, but Alan's breaking it down. We're breaking down as simple as we can so you guys can understand it. And if you don't understand it and you need more information on something, give us a call. Go ahead and give us before the show, and we put it on the show. Tell people about us. You know, if you like what you're saying, and that we all about educating. And if you like any guys, you guys can call us and get in touch with us anytime you want to. And, you know, we can walk you through stuff that help you with stuff. We both have a mentorship program. So, you know, we there to help you. So, guys, we're here to really help you. I'm not a banker. Alan's not a banker. So we're not on the bank side. You know, we're not on the real estate. We're not realtors. We're not on the real estate side. We're just telling you the truth. And we just want you to get educated and learn and make great decisions out there in your life. Go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
I was going to say to just kind of draw it to a close and wrap up. Guys, like, or even if you're watching on Facebook Live, I would really enjoy it if you guys would go over and hit up our YouTube channel and subscribe and share on YouTube, because not everybody has a Facebook account. I know a lot of younger people don't use Facebook anymore. They're on Instagram, or they're on Snapchat, or they're on some other platforms, but everybody watches videos on YouTube. And so that is a good way to also listen on the go, watch shows after they're done. It's easy to be there, and you get alerts when we're going to have a live show. If you hit the like button, then the subscribe, and then the notification bell, that way you get notified when we're going to do stuff. That's great too. I would really highly recommend you do that. I'm going to pull up a little link here and put it in the show notes here to put it out there for everyone to hit us up on YouTube. So that would be great. And yeah, that's
the YouTube channel is Real Talk. No, it's Real Estate 101 Allison John,
that would
right?
be great. Right. And yeah, that's, I got the live stream up. I actually going to put a link out here in our comments box so y'all can click on today's stream off YouTube, and from there you can hit that bell and like. So I'm going to put that in the chat right now. So that's up there, both on Facebook. So there's your link. Just click that link, and you will see this stream today. But you can also use that as a point to hit the subscribe and like from there.
And guys, I just want to say before we get off the air, people are buying homes. In today's time,
actually,
people are buying.
The numbers for May are very strong for home buying. A lot of it was in the new construction sector, not as strong necessarily in the existing homes, but there are houses being built and people are buying. Because if you're doing well and you got a job, like John said, he's never seen rates this low. The reason John said that is because this is the lowest rates they've ever been, ever for houses. I bought my first house in '93, and I paid 8% on a $120,000 house. And I thought this was awesome, because I remember my parents paying 10, 11, 12% for their houses. And the difference between 8% and a 3% rate on your house is the difference between you living in a very not so nice place versus having an awesome house for the same amount of money every month. So bear that in mind. It's like it was such a struggle to pay that monthly payment when it was 8%. And the house is okay, but it wasn't the Taj Mahal by any standard. But that payment was higher than what I'm paying now for a much nicer house when I'm in my 40s and 50s versus when I was in my 20s. So yeah, this is nice, and I don't think rates are going to shoot up anytime soon. But even if rates go from 3 to 4, it's going up by a third. You're paying a third more in interest. So think that through. That even a small little moves on the rates make a big difference in your monthly payment. So yeah, if you take a look out there, now's the time. So, well, John, that's all I have for today.
Hey guys, hey man, make sure you subscribe to us. I apologize that we couldn't get the video on the house here, but I will get some good pictures for you guys so you guys can see it. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. If you're on live, guys, you get in touch with me anytime. Just give me a call. You got my number. Alice gave you my Facebook page, and then guys, you can also, don't forget to download the book. JohnBull.store. Go download the book. So guys, hey, good show, Alice. Good information. Any questions anybody have, then give us a call. Hey, I appreciate it.
All right, John. Thank you very much. Everybody, we'll see you next week, 10:30 on Wednesday morning.
And I promise you I'll be in a better location.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.